You ever think about how the biggest, most complicated ideas are hiding in plain sight? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're taking something super simple, something you probably love, a slice of pizza, and we're going to use it to unlock the entire world of economics. Seriously.
I mean, you see these logos all the time, right? For you, it's probably just a quick meal, a treat, maybe your go-to Friday night thing. But what if I told you that behind every single one of those pizza boxes, there's this incredible story about how our world actually works? A story about resources, tough decisions, and, you guessed it, money.
So, here's the big question we're tackling in this explainer. What if your pizza could explain the entire economy? Sounds kind of crazy, I know, but we're going to show you that by really understanding your pizza, I'm talking from the very first ingredient all the way to you swiping your card, you can totally get the basic ideas that make our whole economic system tick.
All right, you ready? Let's break this thing down. We're going to treat your pizza like a little investigation, pulling it apart piece by piece to see all the hidden economic gears turning behind the scenes.
And that whole system, all that machinery, it actually has a name. It's called the productive mechanism. Sounds a bit formal, right? But all it really means is the process of turning a bunch of raw stuff into something valuable that people actually want. So, you know, how we go from flour, water, and tomatoes to a hot, delicious pizza.
Okay, so if making stuff is like following a recipe, what are the basic ingredients? Well, in economics, they call these the factors of production. And get this, every single thing you can buy, product or service, no exceptions, is made from a mix of these.
And here they are, the big four. You've got land, labor, capital, and the entrepreneur. Just remember those four. They are the absolute building blocks of the entire economy. So let's take a look at each one and see how it fits into our pizza story. First up is land. Now, when economists say land, they don't just mean the piece of ground the pizza shop is built on. Nope, it's a way bigger idea. It means all the free gifts of nature. We're talking the soil that grew the wheat for the dough and the tomatoes for the sauce, the water mixed into it, even the natural gas used to fire up that oven. All of that is land.
Okay, next on the list is labor. This is the human element, the active part of the recipe. And it's not just about physical work, like the chef kneading the dough. It's also the mental work, the manager scheduling shifts, the marketing team designing a new flyer. Basically, if a human is putting in effort, physical or mental, to get a reward, that's labor.
And this is a great way to think about it. The idea of labor is timeless. It doesn't matter if it's someone hundreds of years ago weaving cloth on a loom or a chef today tossing pizza dough in the air. The basic principle is exactly the same. Human effort put in for a reward.
All right, number 3 is capital, and this one is huge, and honestly, a lot of people get it wrong. When we say capital, we don't just mean money. In economics, capital means man-made tools we use to make other things. So for our pizza shop, the oven is capital, the delivery bike is capital, the cash register, the building itself, even the factory that made the pizza boxes, yep, all of that is capital.
So who takes the land, the labor, and the capital and actually makes something happen? That's our fourth ingredient, the entrepreneur. And I absolutely love this analogy of the captain of the ship. That's exactly what they are. The entrepreneur is the one with the vision, the one who brings it all together, and this is the really important part, the one who takes on all the risk. They're the engine that drives the whole thing.
Okay, great. So we've got our ingredients, land, labor, capital, and the entrepreneur. They've all come together to make our pizza. But now for the big question, the price tag. Why does that slice cost what it costs? Well, the answer starts with maybe the most famous idea in all of economics.
And that idea is demand. Now, here's the key thing to understand. Demand isn't just, wanting something. For example, I'd love a private jet, but I definitely don't have the cash for one, so I'm not part of the demand for private jets. For there to be actual economic demand, you need 3 things. You have to want it, you have to be willing to pay the price, and you have to actually have the money.
And this table here just makes it super clear. It's what economists call the law of demand. But honestly, it's just common sense, right? Look here. When a slice is super cheap, say 2 rupees, people want a ton of it, 15 slices. But when the price goes all the way up to 8 rupees, people want way less, only 7 slices. It's a simple relationship. Price goes up, demand goes down. Price goes down, demand goes up. This simple rule is at play literally everywhere, all the time.
So let's think about the pizza place itself. It's not just floating out there in space, right? It's operating in a competitive world, kind of like a market playground. And on this playground, there are different sets of rules. The type of market a business is in has a huge impact on how it plays the game.
So let's do a quick tour of the main types of markets. You've got a monopoly. That's easy. Just one seller. Then you have its weird cousin, a monopsony, which is just one buyer. Then there's something called perfect competition, where everybody is selling the exact same thing. And then you have the one that's most important for our pizza story, monopolistic competition.
And this is exactly where all your favorite pizza chains live. It's not a monopoly, obviously, because there are tons of places to get pizza. But it's not perfect competition either, because Domino's isn't exactly the same as Pizza Hut, right? They all try to stand out with their unique recipes, their branding, their deals. That's monopolistic competition right there.
Okay, let's pull the camera back one more time. To make this whole thing work, for you to just walk in and buy a slice of pizza, there's this enormous financial system working in the background. Think of it like the rule book for the whole economy, and it covers the big stuff like banking and taxes.
And in that system, you basically have two key players. First, you have the central bank. They're the big boss. They issue the currency and they're the government's bank. Then you have the commercial banks. That's your bank, the one you go to for your account or a loan. So you can think of it like this. One sets the rules of the game, and the others are the players on the field with us.
And then, of course, the government needs to get paid. That means taxes. You've got direct taxes, which come right out of your paycheck or your wealth, but then there are indirect taxes, which are baked right into the price of things. See that little GST or sales tax on your pizza receipt? Yep, that's an indirect tax. It's the government getting its own slice of the pie. Sorry, had to say it.
Wow. Okay, so think about the journey we just took. We went from a farm to a factory to a restaurant and finally to your wallet. We've seen how all these different pieces connect, but what does it all mean for you? Well, that brings us to your part in this whole economic game.
Because understanding all this stuff isn't just for a test. It's about something really important, consumer awareness. It means you know your rights, you can spot when something's not right, like unfair pricing. It's about protecting yourself. When you get how the economy works, you stop being just a passive shopper. You become an informed player in the game.
And that's pretty much our journey. We started with one simple pizza and used it to uncover the 4 factors of production that made it, the law of demand that priced it, and even the type of market it's sold in. You can now literally see the invisible economic world that exists behind every single thing you buy.
So I bet the next time you order a pizza, or buy anything really, you're going to see it in a whole new light. You'll see the land, the labor, the capital. You'll see the entrepreneur who took the risk. You'll get that little dance between price and demand. You know the basics now. So the only real question left is, now that you know the rules, how are you going to play the game?